Good morning, everybody. We're going to sing hello, and today we're going to learn a lot about insects. Are you ready? Here we go. Hello, children. Hello, grown-ups. Welcome to our class today. Let's all sing each other's names. Then we'll sing and dance and play. Hi to the children. Hi to the grown-ups. Hi to your siblings. Hi, teacher Chaia. What does my name rhyme with? Chaia sounds like the word papaya. There you go. Can you say papaya? Chaia, papaya. You sound like a bee. We're gonna do it with the bee. Presto, like a bee. Today we're going to learn about all kinds of insects. We're going to learn about bees and spiders and ladybugs and butterflies and grasshoppers and paper wasps and crane fly, which is also known as a daddy longlegs. So I want to introduce you to my friends. Can you see them with me? First one is our little bee. There's our bee. She has wings. Every insect has wings and can fly, and it has a tummy and a tail and a head. So everyone has three parts to it. Here's one. Then there's butterflies. Butterflies are also beautiful wings, right? They're known for their beautiful wings. And they also have a head and a tummy and a tail. Yeah? And then there's ladybugs. Ladybugs crawl a lot, so you might not see them flying, but they also fly. And they are really nice because they eat all the insects that we don't want to have in our garden that will eat the flowers and the leaves, like aphids and mites. And then we have a grasshopper. They come in many colors, but this one's green, right? And grasshoppers also have a tummy and wings and a head. Yeah, but they jump a lot, right? They're good jumpers. And we have spiders. Now, the difference between spiders and other insects, there are probably many, but the main one is that insects have 6 legs. Spiders have 8 legs. Spider's family is called an arachnid. Any spider in the family of arachnids will have 8 legs. Should we count them? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we have a beautiful dragonfly. Do you know that dragonflies are really cool because their wings are always out, even when they're resting, and they catch their food in the air? That's pretty tricky. Could you imagine mom or dad throwing your baby food in the air or you food in the air and you had to catch it? That would be silly, wouldn't it? I want to play you a song that sounds just like the bees flying, and it's called Flight of the Bumblebee. I'm going to get up and I'm going to play it for you in 1 sec. Hang in there. Can you hear it? So fast. Wow, can you make your hands go really fast? What instrument do you think is playing it? Can you hear? It's the violin. Can you make it go really fast? Do I hear more instruments to you? That sounds like a wind instrument. Ooh. You go high? Go round. Bees have a waggle too. Can you wiggle your belly? That's how you tell if food is far away or not. Can you run a circle? That's how they tell if the food has a lot. Plants have a lot of food in it for them to get the nectar and make honey. Wow, louder. Going back to the hive. That's where they live. Very nice. That was good listening. Now, I want to show you what their hives, where they live, look like. The shape of their hive is very special. It's called a hexagon. Can you see that? If you have these at home or you have triangles at home, we're going to need just a few triangles. See how many we need. Ready? I see this, right? 1, 2 purple, 2 yellow, and 2 red. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And 6 is the word hex in Latin. And that's when we know what shape it is because we call it a hexagon. And this is a special shape because it doesn't waste any space. The honey is very important. They need a lot of honey. So they have to fit a lot of honey in their hive. So let's see how the hexagons fit together. You see how they fit together so tight? And then another hexagon would fit there. And you see how I started another one with a triangle at the bottom? That means there's no space that will be wasted. And they'll be able to fit as much honey as they can. We love bees because they take the flower's nectar and they make it into food for their babies and also for their queen. And also we get honey and we can buy it in the store and we can have honey, which is really good for us. Not for babies, but for us. And that's a little bit about bees. All right, we're going to go to our next friend. Hang in there. All right. Welcome back. Our second friend is a ladybug. And a ladybug is really beautiful. In fact, all around the world, people name the ladybug for their favorite person or person in a story that they love. So in Israel, it's called Moses's cow because Moses was loved and they loved the cows too. And in Spanish, you say Mariquita, little Mary, because everybody loved Mary from the stories of the Catholic Church where Mary was very kind. And we call it a ladybug. It's a nice name, right? Even if it's a boy, we call it a ladybug. Ladybugs are bright red, and that scares away and makes their enemies worry that they might get poisoned if they eat them, because often bright animals are poisoned. So they are lucky to be red, and that's how they were designed, so they would scare away their enemies. And the next thing they do that we really love is that they eat very little bugs called aphids. And aphids are really, truly amazing. That's another story. But they eat our food, and that's not good, our plants. So the ladybugs eat them up. And the third thing is they have a yucky smell. So animals and birds and things don't like to eat ladybugs. So they're really good to be in our garden. So we're going to sing a little song about ladybugs. Ready? Can you get your little finger, make a pretend ladybug on your finger? We're going to crawl up because ladybugs crawl as well as fly. Ladybug, she crawls along, and as she crawls, she sings her song. Can you sing your song with a little tube? Do 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 do. Ladybug, she spreads her wings, and as she flies, the song she sings. Doodly doo 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 doodly doo doo doo. Should we do it again? Here we go. Ladybug, she creeps along, and as she creeps, she sings her song. Doodly doo 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 doodly doo doo doo. Because they crawl and they fly. Ladybug, she spreads her wings, as she flies, the song she sings. Doodly doo 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 doodly doo 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 doo. I have a really lovely story about a ladybug. I'm going to read it to you. Can you see the pictures? I'm going to get a little closer. Yeah? Once upon a time, the gardener looked around at all his garden, and he liked what he saw. He saw all kinds of vegetables, brightly colored flowers, and fruit trees that made the air smell really sweet. There were many kinds of insects, all kinds in the garden: ladybugs and butterflies and wasps and bees and aphids and ants. The gardener thought about all those insects. He knew that bees and butterflies helped the garden grow. He knew that because as they flew from flower to flower, they drank the nectar and they picked up a fine yellow dust called pollen, which the flowers produced. By carrying pollen from one flower to another, the bees and the butterflies helped the flowers produce seeds for new plants. Do you see the bee? Yeah, there's some ants. Though the butterflies were helpful, the gardener knew that their young, the caterpillars, were not. They often damaged plants by eating the leaves. The ants and wasps in the garden were harmful in one way, but helpful in another. They sometimes nibbled the ripe fruit before the gardener got around to picking it so he couldn't have it to eat. But they also helped the garden by eating harmful insects. Do you see the pretty ladybugs? And there's a bee. There is no question about the aphids, though. The gardener knew that they were bad for the garden because they sucked up the plant juices and they spread illnesses called diseases. He didn't know much about the bright red ladybugs, but he thought they were special and very fond of them, was he? One day, the gardener had an idea. If I get rid of the bad insects, he thought my garden will be perfect. So the next day he sprayed all kinds of things on the fruit trees, the vegetables, and the flowers. He used a spray gun that was something that killed the bugs. As the gardener sprayed the poison, the bees and the ants and the wasps hid in their nests. They protected themselves that way. But the ladybug didn't have any nests. They just sleep underneath twigs in the night. So they flew away in a great red cloud. The aphids didn't have any nests either, but without wings, they couldn't fly away. They hid under the leaves in the garden. Do you see them? This is all the butterflies flying away. When the gardener finished spraying, the aphids crept out of their hiding place. They went back to work. Many of them died from the poison, but many survived. The aphids suck the juice out of the leaves and tender plant stems. Some of the juice passed through their bodies and turned into a sweet, sticky liquid called honeydew. They make a lot of honeydew. Soon it seemed there were more aphids than ever before. As they multiplied, they sucked more and more plant juice. It wasn't long before the plants in the garden were coated with sticky honeydew. Ants loved that. Here come the ants. They milked the aphids by stroking them with their feelers. This made the aphids squeeze out more honeydew, which the ants then licked up. There were so many ants that they got going to get the honeydew from the aphids. The gardener began to see ant trails all over the garden. The bees in the garden liked honeydew too. It was easier for the bees to lick honeydew from the plants to make their honey than it was for them to go from flower to flower collecting nectar. Besides, there were fewer flowers now. The plants had become too sick to make many flowers because of the damage the aphids had done. There were just a few. Did you just notice there's a few garden flowers? With fewer flowers, there were fewer butterflies visiting the garden. But there were still many caterpillars. They stayed in the garden, eating the leaves until they grew big enough to turn into butterflies and fly away. Not only were the plants too sick to make many flowers, the fruit trees were too sick to produce much fruit. Wasps buzzed angrily about, fighting over what fruit there was. And all the while, the aphids continued to make more babies and more babies and more babies. There were so many that they were crowded together on the plants, fighting one another for food and space. Many plants were so covered with honeydew that they grew moldy. That's not good for a plant. The gardener knew that something was terribly wrong. The garden had very few flowers. The fruit trees had very little fruit, and the vegetables were shriveled up and wilted. The plants were covered with aphids. There were ant-hills and ant trails everywhere. The wasps were becoming a nuisance, and the butterflies had all but disappeared. Even the bees' honey tasted strange because they made it from honeydew instead of the nectar. The gardener didn't know what to do. He could see that spraying with poison had been a mistake. He understood now that all the life in his garden was linked together somehow, that the plants and the insects depended on one another to survive. What about ladybugs? A friend suggested. What about them? Said the gardener. Ladybugs are nature's way of controlling the aphids, the friend replied, and she gave him a place where he could get some ladybugs. When the box of ladybugs arrived, the gardener took it out into the garden, opened it, and left it in a shady spot under the tree. One by one, the ladybugs flew or crawled out of the box. Soon they were all over the garden. Look how many. The ladybugs ate all the aphids they could find. They ate and ate and ate. And after a while, the garden began to recover. The plants grew stronger and healthier because of these beautiful big ladybugs. The gardener smiled. He had always known there was something special about a ladybug. So now we're going to learn about butterflies. So hold on, I'm going to get my butterflies for you, okay? All right, are you ready to learn about butterflies? Well, here's my butterfly. I want to tell you that they're very pretty to watch. They don't live for very long, so there's a special time of year where you can see them. And they all fly here, particularly the monarch butterflies. They fly from Mexico, and they fly, and they go to the trees, and they sleep under the tree leaves, see, like that. So they're protected. And then when they wake up, they all fly out over the trees, and it's really beautiful. It's about January and February. We just missed it, but we will be able to see them again. So now I want to tell you the story of how they become a butterfly. It says here, I am a caterpillar. I grow inside my tiny yellow egg. Can you see the egg? Here it is. The egg is no bigger than the period at the end of this sentence. It's really little in real life. They made it bigger to see. My mother is a butterfly. One day I will look like her. I'm ready to hatch. So I nibble, nibble, nibble a hole. Let me put close so you can see. A hole in my eggshell. Can you see? Now I wriggle out of the hole. Oop, here comes a big caterpillar. At last I am free. Growing bigger. I'm 1 week old. Each day I grow bigger and bigger. I can always eat because I'm always hungry. My skin feels very tight. I start to shed my skin. My skin comes off. I wriggle out of my old skin, and then my new skin fits my bigger body. There's this bigger skin. Soon I grow too big for this skin. Lots of legs. I am 2 weeks old, 1, 2, and my skin is shedding again. Oh my, now I have bright stripes on my body. Look how pretty. How many arms and legs do I have? I have 6 arms and 10 legs. Wouldn't that be a lot if you had 6 arms and 10 legs? Ooh, let's see what they're gonna do now. This says striped suits. I am 3 weeks old, says the caterpillar. I am 3 weeks old and I'm munching on my favorite plant. Other caterpillars are eating it too. And they eat milkweed, which is poisonous to other animals. But if they eat it, then other animals won't eat them and they won't smell good either. So that's a good thing. I wriggle to the next plant. When I'm eating, my striped suit helps me hide from the dangers. It's called camouflage. I use my orange horn and I scare my enemies away. Can you see the orange horn and the suit that's striped? He looks very scary. Changing shape. I am 4 weeks old now. Now I am a full-grown caterpillar. I search for a safe hiding place, like I said, underneath the leaves. My body is changing shape. I'm not a caterpillar anymore. I am called a chrysalis. He's inside something, right? When I am 7 weeks old, I come out of my pouch. Now I am a butterfly. My new wings are crumpled and wet. Right there, they're all sticky. I rest for a while in the warm sunshine, and look what happens. Soon my wings are flat and I can fly. In the sunshine. Now I'm 8 weeks old and I'm fully grown. That's 2 months. My wings are strong. I can flutter through the meadow. I drink sweet nectar from the flowers using my long tongue. That has a funny name, proboscis. At last, I look as colorful as my mother. Ooh, he wanted to look like his mom because she had pretty colors. See how I grow. Here's the egg. Then there's the caterpillar. Then there's a striped caterpillar. And then there's the 3-week-old caterpillar with more legs. And then there's the chrysalis. And then out comes the butterfly. Doesn't live for very long, but it gets to fly. And sometimes it flies very far, all the way from Mexico. It doesn't stop. That's very far. 7 weeks old and 8 weeks old, and it's fully grown. And there is the story of a butterfly and how it grows. Now we're going to learn about a different insect, and it's called a spider. Are you ready? I'm going to get my spider stuff. Be right back. Hi again. Here we go with spiders. Are you ready to see my little spider? He's not that scary. And spiders make webs that catch flies. So we're grateful to spiders for their webs. Are you ready? Here's our spider. And I want to sing our Eensy Weensy Spider song. Will you sing it with me? Here we go. Get your little spiders. We need 8 legs. Here's 8 legs. Ready? The Eensy Weensy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the Eensy Weensy Spider went up the spout again. Where's his spout? Let's find it. Here it is. Now, why would a spider sleep and live in a spout? There's a good reason. In fact, there's a couple good reasons. One good reason is it's very hard. So if a spider goes inside, the spider's body is soft. It will protect the spider. And it will protect it from the wind and the cold because it's warm in there. And it will also protect them from things that will eat them. And things that will eat them are called predators. Can you say predators? Can you say it with a mean face because they're kind of scared of them? Predators. Some predators are big flying wasps, and they go in the air and they're looking for spiders. And luckily our spider is hiding in there. There he is. And so they won't see him and they'll fly away. Sometimes it's birds and they're flying and they will also eat a spider, so they're safe. Now, another reason, that's a great reason for them to be in a spout is because they know that there comes, water goes through it. They've learned that in the spout off the house, there's water that falls out the bottom when it rains off the roof falls through the spout. Do you see my water? And in the water live bugs that spiders like to eat. So all their food could be just right there near their house because the bugs are waiting in the water and they're just playing and doing their thing. And then the spider comes right through the spout, whoop, and eats the bugs. The other reason is spiders are good at crawling. They have very interesting feet. They have a hook. It's called a tarsi. Can you say tarsi? Tarsi. And that tarsi hooks on to things. And inside a spout is a little bit bumpy. We can't see it because our eyes don't see it that carefully. But the spider's little claws, they cling to the spout and they climb up the spout on the inside and they grab, so they can go up to the top if they need to or down. So the spout is just the right texture. They can hang on to it very tightly. I didn't know all that before I started learning about spiders. Now I want to show you something about their webs. We know that spiders make beautiful webs. Some spiders make messy webs. Spider mites make the messy kind. So if you go outside, you will see messy spider webs that don't have pretty shapes. But if you see a very nice shape, you will notice something. There's a structure to it. There's a shape. And the mommy spider, the daddy spider, when they're weaving their web, they make a very strong structure. And this part of the web is not sticky. It's not sticky so that the spider can walk on this part and it won't get stuck. And their legs have hairs on them, lots of hairs. So it also helps them protect from being stuck to something because the hairs are covering their feet and it won't stick as much. And they go on their toes and they have their hairs. So they're not touching very much anyway, just the tippy toes of their foot. And then the other part of the web, there's two parts. It's called the silk. That silk is very soft. It's very silky. And it's sticky too. And that stickiness comes from the body of the spider and it gets on this part. And it goes across the other way. So they make a very fancy web. And you could see a pretty web when you go outside. This is just a pretend one. And the part that's sticky, they don't walk on. They can jump over it, and they're very good at that. So they can keep their prey, the food that they eat, which does get stuck to the sticky part because their bodies stick to it more than the spider's bodies. They keep it and they wrap it in a very special material that also comes out of their bodies. And it goes onto the sticky part, and they're all sticky, and they can suck the blood out, which is what they do, of the insects they eat, and then that makes their food. Every animal has to have food, so that's how they do it. And it's very interesting how they do that because they know how to do it. And all the other animals don't have a web like that. They're the only ones that I know of that have a web. And they don't fly, they crawl, right? They're arachnids, they're not insects, but they're very cool, and I want to tell you about them. All right, ready? I want to tell you about the next one, but I want to sing you a song first, that's right. And the song is going to be with my friend Alexa because she does the music really pretty because my friend Charlotte Diamond sings the song. I want you to sing it with me, and we'll do our hands together. Ready? Alexa, will you play Spin, Spider, Spin by Charlotte
Spin, Spider, Spin by Dan Crow from Spotify Music.
Hang on, you guys, hang on. Let's listen to this song. I don't know the song. Dan Crow is a nice person singing these beautiful music.
Spin, spider, spin, spin your spider web. Spin, spider, spin, spin your spider web. On Halloween night, you're such a scary sight. Spin, spider, spin, spin your spider web.
Do you like that song? It's good for Halloween, huh?
Spin, spider, spin, spin your spider web. Spin, spider, spin. Spin your spider web. On Calvary's neck. Your such a scary sight. Spin, spider, spin. Spin your spider web.
Stop, Alexa. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Isn't that nice? Aren't we lucky to have Alexa? I'll teach you the other song another time. That was really fun. All right, we have another friend we're going to visit, and I'm going to introduce you, but I'm going to stop it first so I can get my thing. Hi, everybody again. All right, we have our friends, the grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are lots of fun. I'm going to read you a story about a grasshopper, and it asks, are you a grasshopper? Are you a grasshopper? No. Am I a grasshopper? No. Let's see how you know what a grasshopper is. Are you a grasshopper? If you are, your mother looks like this. And your father looks much the same, like that. Can you see? Yeah. Your mother laid her eggs at the end of the summer. She laid them deep in the grass, just under the ground, and covered them in frothy stuff. The froth hardened into a pod to keep the eggs safe. You and your brothers and sisters slept in your eggs all winter long. But now it's spring, time to hatch. Push all together to get out of the pod. And here it is, they're pushing to get out of the pod. You look a little like a tiny worm, but that's only because you're wrapped in a worm-shaped covering. So unwrap yourself. Look at that cute snail. You're still tiny and you don't have any wings, but now you look like a grasshopper. You're hungry, so eat. Eat grass or maybe some leaves. Clover's nice. Eat and grow. Unfortunately, your skin is hard, so it doesn't grow with you. You'll have to take it off. Who else had to take their skin off? The caterpillar. Luckily, there's a new skin underneath. Eat and grow and change your skin again. Now you have wing buds on your back. Wow. Change your skin again. Now you have small, stubby wings. Remember, all insects have wings. Aphids must not be insects because they don't have wings. Eat and grow and change your skin at least 4 times. The final skin change is the slowest and the biggest. Here it comes off. Here it comes off, and here it comes off. And struggle out of it, struggle, and hang from the grass stem while your wings grow all the way to full size. At last, you're a fully grown size grasshopper. You're bigger and stronger than before. You have 6 legs, 2 pair of wings, 2 large eyes, very big eyes, and 2 short feelers right there, right? You have tiny ear holes on the sides of your body, little ears, and also they're above your back pair of legs. On your feet, you have suction pads. Wouldn't that be fun to have those? So you can cling to a stem. Besides your mouth, you have palpi, like tiny fingers, to help push in your food. Can you see right there? They're helping to push in this food. This is a bush cricket. You can tell it's a cricket and not a grasshopper because it has long feelers. Look at those long feelers. Don't stand around looking at it. It may be eating a leaf right now, but bush crickets eat grasshoppers too. Uh-oh. Don't get caught in a spider web. In a spider web, spiders eat grasshoppers. Don't get too close to a frog or a toad either. Frogs and toads eat grasshoppers. Uh-oh. Watch out for birds. Some birds eat grasshoppers too. It's dangerous out there in the world in the grass. Always be ready to escape from danger. You could fly, except you're not very good at flying. You could hide. You're very difficult to see if you creep down among the grass stems. Or you could hop. After all, you are a grasshopper. Can you see them? It's easy to get them to not see them because they're in the grass and they're the same color, right? Your strong back legs are bent up. Straighten them suddenly and you'll be catapulted through the air. You can jump amazingly high and travel an amazingly long way. You're very light and your skin is like a suit of armor, very strong. You won't hurt yourself when you land. Would you like to have suction cups on your feet and a suit of armor but be able to fly? Wouldn't that be fun? You have a row of tiny pegs on the inside of each leg. Pedal your legs up and down fast. The pegs rub against your wings and make a tickling, chirping noise. Keep going for about 20 seconds. It's less than a minute. Have a break, then start again. Can you see how his wings are moving fast? If you're a male grasshopper, chirp loudly, and then you will find a lady grasshopper. If you're a female grasshopper, you can chirp back if you want to. The important thing is to mate and lay eggs for next year. There's the new mommy and daddy right there. However, if your mother and father look like this, or like this, or like this, you are not a grasshopper. With a human child, you don't have wings, and you don't have feelers, and you don't have ears on the sides of your body. You probably cannot jump amazingly high. A little bit high, yeah. But don't worry, you can do many things that a grasshopper can't do. Best of all, you can make music without pedaling your legs up and down. Did you know that the grasshoppers in this book are common green grasshoppers, but there are more than 7,000 different kinds of grasshoppers? Wow, I didn't know that. Also, they are closely related to crickets, and what are really cool are stick insects. They look like sticks. Cockroaches and earwigs. I don't like those, but they're important. A grasshopper can jump 20 times the length of its own body. And the locust is a large tropical grasshopper that is very good at flying. And they can eat a whole full crop in one night. Most grasshoppers die at the end of the summer after they lay their eggs. So they live for about 2 or 3 months. And there's a beautiful grasshopper jumping through the air. All right, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you my dragonfly. And I want to tell you that when I had a house, I got to see a dragonfly stick up a nest right on the side of my door where I used to teach music. It was really beautiful. Inside that nest came a little dragonfly right next to my door. And the dragonflies are either blue or red. The girls are blue mostly. And they hover, they sail over my pond. That's what they would do. And they swoop down and they lay their eggs. Their eggs fall right into the water. They swoop down and they drop all these eggs on the water. And there were always really beautiful dragonflies flying around my pond. So they love water. So if you have an insect that you want to keep, there's some things you need to do to make sure they're safe, because we're going to be making their house for them, and usually they make their house, right? So what you can do is get something that has holes in it. This is already made. It has holes so that air can get in. And then we have something inside here. What do you see? Dirt and sticks. Dirt is a little bit wet, so if they need moisture, You can make it a little bit wet, and then they will have some vapor and water and keeps it cool. And then the sticks they can climb on if they don't want to get wet. They need to go in between or on top of the sticks, and that keeps them dry, right? And then you can put some food in. So you'd have to think, what is a good food for those animals? Well, we learned that ladybugs eat aphids, right? And ants actually like the honeydew of the aphids. So if you put aphids in there, that's food for both the ants and the ladybugs. And it's nice to take the aphids out of the garden and put them in there, right? I think a grasshopper would jump out, and I think a butterfly wouldn't be happy. But you can grow butterflies in another way. There's special things for growing butterflies at your house. And I wouldn't put a bee in there. That would not be very good, right? Because bees have their own house. What's their house called? Do you remember? A hive. Yeah. Here's the hive. Where are the bees? Hiding away where nobody sees. Watch as they slowly come out of their hive. We're going to count to 5. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and tickle, 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 tickle. Anybody near you, okay? So that's what we're going to show you. That's what we showed you. Here's our little special house for insects. We don't have as many insects now because there was too many people spraying poison like that book. So we have to teach everybody to just use ladybugs and not spray their garden with poison. And if there's an animal that comes in to eat the insects, it's better to give them food that's a different kind. Like a gopher, you can give them dog food and take them away from the holes where they're eating our plants instead of putting sprays of things that are not good. So I urge you to do what's called organic gardening. And that's what people hopefully will do more and more. So we'll have a lot more insects soon. All right, now we're going to do something special. I'm going to see if we can take this computer outside, and I'm going to show you the paper wasps. They make paper out of wood. They chew it, chew, 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 chew. And they make paper out of wood all by themselves. And they made paper before even people knew how to make paper. And they make wasps. They make their paper wasps. So they're not mean. They don't hurt people. And they make them as big as a basketball if they kept growing. Now, I have some that are a little bit big in my garage, in my outdoor garage. So I'm going to show you. It's called a carport. So I'm going to pause it and I'm going to take it outside. I hope this works. Okay. Hi, everybody. I don't think I can get too close because the light's not working so well. But if you look up there where my finger's pointing, do you see a little dark spot? That's where the paper wasps are making their nest. And they come out and they fly around and they make it all over my garage. So I don't know if this is going to work. We'll try. The light gets dark when I move it around. But on the other side there, you can see another one. See? No, not too much. So that paper wasp nest behind me is where my paper wasps live at my house. And they're not bad for the garden, so it's okay to keep them. And on the other side, right here, is a big one. So you come to visit me, you could see it, right? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming to see me and see our beautiful insects that we need. Everybody needs them because they help us get food and they help us grow flowers and they help us catch the insects that we don't want. And then they help us by making all the gardens really beautiful all together. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. And we're going to say goodbye. And we're going to sing our goodbyes. Are you ready? And I want to show you one thing before we go. I want to show you a picture. This is a picture of a beehive. Can you see it? Look at that honeycomb. It's made all the shapes. And I wanted to show you how they're all hexagons. Can you see that little pointy shape? I found this and it's a really good place to show you because all the workers are crawling in and very busy because they work together. 1,000 people in a team at once will work together and they will make all the honey that we're eating. They work really hard. And so I wanted to show you how beautiful their honeycomb is. All right. Let's say bye-bye and we're going to sing our song. And thank you for joining me. Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. Now it's time to say goodbye. sad, it's okay to cry. Let's sing everybody's name. Then we'll sing more songs and games. Bye to the children, bye to the teachers. Bye, teacher Chaia, that rhyme with papaya. Thank you, Michelle and Wonder School. Thank you, parents, for being here with the children. Bum, 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 bum. Bye, everybody.